Number 12 on our cross-country flight plan asks us to find the distance to reach our top of climb. So on our navigation log thus far, we have found the time to climb is 9 minutes, and we know our ground speed is going to be 80. We found that by using the wind side of our E6B. Now we're going to use the calculator side of our E6B. Now I know it looks very intimidating, there's a lot of numbers on here, but it's actually pretty easy once you get the hang of it. There's a couple things I want to point out. One being that there's an outer scale, and then there's an inner movable scale. All the numbers on the movable scale represent time. So it's in minutes and it's in hours, whichever makes more sense for the problem you happen to be working on. The other thing I want to point out is that these numbers can be what you need them to be by simply moving the decimal. What I mean by this is that this 80 could be 0.8, 8, 80, 800, 8,000, whatever I need it to be, just by moving the decimal. It could never be 8.8. It could only be 0.8, 8, 80, 800, or 8,000. We'll let that settle in for a minute. I know it seems a bit confusing. All right, so how can we use this to find out the distance for our climb? They give us a little formula down here, and you see this little pointer represents the pointer here. Some people call it a kitty cat nose. So we'll put the pointer on the miles or knots. We're using knots, so we're going to put the pointer on knots. So what was our speed? 80 knots. So we just put the pointer on 80. Then once I do that, there's a little equal sign, so it means that once I do this, the distance is going to read on the outer scale and the time will read on the inner scale. Well, which one of these do we know? Do we know distance? No, that's what we're trying to find. Do we know time? Yes, we do. We know 9 minutes. So I have to use this inner scale and find something that resembles 9. And I would use this because, again, remember, this could be 0.9, 9, 90, whatever I need it to be by moving the decimal. So I need it to be a 9 right now. So if this is 9 minutes, it tells me to look above that and I will see the distance that I travel, 12 miles. So we should be about 12 miles away by the time we reach our top of climb. So just to review that one more time, all I did was put the pointer on our speed of 80. It tells me to put the pointer on speed. So I turned this to set the pointer to 80. Once I've done that, the distance and time read over one another. I didn't know the distance, but I did know the time. 9 minutes makes 12 miles. See, I told you it wasn't that hard. Now that we have our distance to climb, to top of climb calculated out, we can mark it on our chart. So we're going to use our plotter to measure the distance from Greenville downtown 12 miles away. When you're using a plotter, be very, very careful that you find nautical miles, because if you look at the back side, this one says statute miles, and that's not what we're working with. We're using nautical miles. So I always tell my students, keep the spinny side up, and that way we always stay on nautical miles. So when I place this plotter down, I start at Greenville Downtown Airport, and this is a sectional chart, not a whack chart. The whack chart is a very blown up version that actually it's not really blown up version, it is a zoom away version, so you have everything looks much smaller on that chart. With the sectional chart is the one that we're actually using today. So we are going to go 12 miles away and just put a spot. You can put an X, you can put a circle, a little dot, whatever you want to do, but that is where we should be by the time we reach the top of climb. Now look, this actually is right at a VFR checkpoint anyways. What is a VFR checkpoint? Well, it's a little flag that's stuck here on our chart that is a popular known location used by ATC. So if you're flying in toward the airport, you could tell them that you're over Fountain Inn, and they're very familiar with where that is. You could, of course, also say that you're about 12 miles south of the airport, or you could say that you're over Fountain Inn inbound. Anyways, our top of climb should be right here about 12 miles away.